Hello, HRI researchers. My name is Tim Riedel. I'm with the FRI program at UT Austin, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the very exciting topic of scientific writing. And I'm being sarcastic. It's not very exciting, but I'm going to try to convince you today that it's something that you should do and you should try to do well, and there's some rules on how to do it. And the best thing that I tell my students at UT is learn to stop fighting the rules, just follow them, and it actually makes your life easier. So let's get started today, and I wanted you to think about your favorite science fiction movie. They're typically some kind of Marvel action movie, and think about a scene in that movie where there is a scientist. And normally it goes like this. First of all, the scientist is in a ridiculously clean lab. Like it's just clean and white, and there's little cool screens everywhere with random animations on them, three-dimensional animations that look cool. But then someone calls down to the scientist, I need that result. And they go, give me a minute. Science is hard. So, and then a minute later, they yell back the result. And then the action movie takes off from there. And that's awesome. Anytime you see a scientist in a movie, just cheer and say, yeah, all right. But let's talk about the part that they don't show. And it's understandable they don't show it, is that to be doing real science, you need to be writing that stuff down. So the boring word for it is documentation, but you got to write stuff down or you're not actually doing science, right? You're just playing around. You're kind of maybe being a hacker or something to that effect. But a full-blown scientist has to, as part of the job, document their work and do such a good job writing it down, videoing it. It doesn't specifically matter, but it's got to be documented so well that someone else, somewhere else in the world, so a different person in a different place in the world, in a different time, so imagine 50 years in the future, has to be able to reproduce what you've discovered. So whatever your experiment is, they got to be able to redo it. And so that's where this other side of science comes in, that we spend a lot of time writing stuff down and writing it in a specific, what feels like strange way of writing that allows for the best reproducing of something, a result later in time or in a different place. But let's talk about this kind of lab report and why we do it, where it came from, and all this kind of stuff. If you've learned a little bit about scientific history, the history of science, which some people learn and some people don't, it's pretty new. Getting going, science has only been around 200-300 years. You had this kind of ancient style, the Greek philosophers used to just mostly verbally debate each other and knowledge was disseminated that way. It's kind of interesting as in the modern day, and it really began with the sort of printing press and being able to send out letters and magazines to other scientists around the world, or certainly at least around your local area. And so this journal writing began. It was mostly probably through the Royal Society in Europe, and they were sending letters. The various scientists in the area were sending letters back and forth. And that began this kind of habit of, I don't just need to write it down, I need to send it out. And over the years, over the last 200 years or so, that format has evolved into a system that's really efficient at sharing scientific discoveries. 20 years ago, the main way of doing that was through printed, they look like magazines. We call them journal articles. So you'll hear us talk about journal articles. There's two important points to that. It's you're writing it down in a way that's reproducible, but you're also sending it out to a lot of different places. So if one library burns down, you're okay because you have a copy of it somewhere else. And also people in other languages and different places can read it and understand it. What a modern scientist is trying to do is write down their results and then spread it out. Now, of course, in this modern day, we've started using the internet a lot to send around PDFs and other digital versions of scientific discoveries, and you'll even now see more usage of videos and that kind of thing. But throughout that history, you kind of evolved this efficient style of writing. Don't fight them so much because they're actually really efficient, and in my opinion, it's easier to write in a scientific style than in an English literature style. They've got some rules on how they want you to write up scientific results. There's a good reason for those rules. It's super annoying as a young scientist when you hit it. I'm reflecting on how I used to get kind of angry about it. I'd be like, oh, this is such a restrictive format and it's fighting my creativity. Don't have that attitude. Just say, cool, just tell me exactly what to write. Okay, good luck with your writing. Have a good day.